Good morning. Welcome to you all on this Good Friday liturgy. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure to see so many new faces, and we welcome you to Church of the Incarnation. On this day, this Good Friday, we are doing something a little bit different than the traditional Anglican liturgical experience. We are offering a dramatic presentation set in a kind of contemporary manner to offer the challenges and the struggles that we all feel as human beings in life, at the journey from Christmas through Good Friday to our own resurrections, into our own resurrection story. And it is symbolized by this particular cross, which some short months ago was our Christmas tree. So sometimes our Christmases don't turn out exactly the way we expect. That in the midst of this time together today, it is my hope that you will reflect upon the challenges that we face as human beings in making decisions and choices, the right decisions. We hope that you reflect on the injustices that happen in the world and the ambivalence that sometimes comes with being an advocate for the marginalized. We hope you reflect on the cruelty that humanity can instill one upon the other, inflict one upon the other. And we hope you reflect on the way in which the time of Jesus, the Roman occupiers utilized a horrific form of capital punishment that was beyond humane. So I invite you to participate fully in this time and to say prayers, sing songs, to listen and to reflect as we continue our journey through this 3 days of the Easter Triduum, as we call it. Our service is in the blue leaflet. Everything you need is for it, and I invite you now to begin with me on page 1. Holy and gracious God, we who once knelt in wonder at the cradle of earth,
now stand beneath the cross of death.
To you on this day of grief and guilt,
we bring our doubt and distress.
To you on this day of sorrow and shame,
we bring our agony and pain.
In the shadow of these hours, help us to understand
that the cross that lays bare the pain and evil of the world also reveals the depth of your love.
that Christ's body pierced and blood poured out
holds your promise of bringing life. You know our hearts, O God, and you know the ways in which we turn away from you and turn our backs on the suffering of others. On this day of death, open our hearts to the beating heart of the world. As we remember the events of that Friday long ago, help us to see the instruments of death and destruction that break the bodies and spirits of all your people in all times
please stand and together we sing the hymn, My Song is Love Unknown. And following the song, I invite you to be seated as we begin our dramatic presentation.
The disciples did as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover meal. When it was evening, he took his place with the 12, and while they were eating, he said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." And then he became greatly distressed and began to say to him one after another, "Surely not I, Lord." He answered, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man does as it is written of him. But woe to that one by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that one not to have been born." Judas, who betrayed him, said, "Surely not I, Rabbi." He replied, "You have said so." While they were eating, Jesus took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it, gave it to the disciples, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will never again drink of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." When they had sung the hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives.
pretty worried and confused by all this. I wonder how they were reacting. It doesn't really tell you anything here. Maybe it was something like this.
Man, what did you make of all that?
I have no idea what to say. I've never seen a Savior dinner like that before.
And Jesse, I've never seen him like that. So serious and intense. Do you think he knows something we don't?
Well, I'm not sure I like where this is heading, you know. I was okay with the social protests and the political rallies, but he's talking about something way bigger now, and I'm not sure I can follow him there, wherever there is.
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. I'm with him till the bitter end. He can count on me.
Well, I really admire your faith. I'm not sure I can follow him. Hey, what's up with Jesse and Jude?
Yeah, that was weird. Jesse's no Jude's no backstabber. I think we can trust her. But come to think of it, I saw her chatting up the cops after that rally last Sunday.
What? I thought I was going to have to really pump this up to make it interesting. This reads like a Greek novel. I can't figure out what genre it is. Half political thriller, part murder mystery. Maybe it's something much more. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Then Jesus went with them to the Mount of Olives, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be grieved and agitated. Then he said to them, "I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and stay awake with me." And going a little farther, he threw himself on the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not what I want, but what you want." Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So, could you not stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you will not come again into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again he went away for the second time and prayed, "My Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done." Again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went away and prayed for the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? See, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd with swords and clubs, from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." At once he came to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you are here to do." Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and arrested him. Suddenly, one of those with Jesus put his hand on his sword, drew it, and struck the slave of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Then Jesus said to him, "Put your sword back into its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword. Do you think that I cannot appeal to my Father, and he will at once send me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the Scriptures be fulfilled, which say it must happen in this way?" At that hour Jesus said to the crowds, "Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me as though I were a bandit? Day after day I sat in the temple teaching, and you did not arrest me. But all this has taken place so that the Scriptures of the prophets may be fulfilled." Then all the disciples deserted him and fled.
Man, I wish there was more in this text. There's so many questions, there's really any answers there. Like, why did Jesus bring the disciples with him? And then, why did they all take off and leave him by himself? But most of all, Judas. Why did he do that? What was he thinking? Well, it looks like I'm shaping up to be the villain of this story. How much will you give me to betray him? There, I said it. I said it! And now that I have, I feel much better. It's like a huge weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I could have stopped it, you know. Could have said I made a mistake. But I didn't. And now what is there to say? It is hell, Jesse. It's hell, and it's still hell. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to handle the dirty goods. You had to die. You told us that yourself. Maybe I was just helping you along. To the gas chamber. Maybe I thought you needed that. Maybe I thought you needed just a push so you could show all people that power that you kept saying you have. He's supposed to be this violent revolutionary, right? The mighty overthrower of evil. And then the fighting starts. What does he do? He just goes. Peacefully. He even stops the rest of us from fighting for him. Maybe I'm missing a trick. Probably am. I just don't get it. You know, maybe I did him a favor. Maybe I did a good deed. Maybe he'll say, "Thank you, Jude." Will you say that? Thank you, Jude. You know, they knew who I was. They knew I was trouble. I was looking for trouble. I have a reputation. I was just living up to it. I never claimed to be the savior of the world. I only claimed to be who I am. And anybody would have done the same thing that I did if the money was right. If you couldn't live with the jealousy. You didn't know whether you were loved.
Well, this is not looking good. It seems to be unraveling fast for everybody. At least you can count on Peter. Peter won't betray Jesus. Oh, really?
Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A servant girl came to him and said, "You also were with Jesus the Galilean." But he denied it before all of them, saying, "I do not know what you're talking about." When he went out to the porch, another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystanders, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again he denied it with an oath, "I do not know the man." After a little while, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, "Certainly you are also one of them, for your accent betrays you." Then he began to curse, and he swore an oath, "I do not know the man." At that moment, the cock crowed. Then Peter heard what Jesus had said, "Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly.
Did not see that coming. how Judas goes down in history as being the bad guy, but it seems to me there's a lot of people that take that route. How do I tell this story? Maybe it's better to just think they were all just human.
Well, you can deny it all you want, but I know you were there with him that night. The church burned down.
I told you, lady, you're out of your mind.
No.
You got the wrong guy. You know, screw you, I'm under here. Nut job. God, what am I doing? If I had half a brain, I'd be on the next bus out of town. They're gonna gas Jesse. I know it, I can feel it. I'm gonna get 50 years just for knowing the guy. I can't let that happen. I got a wife and kid to think about. Besides, I'm not taking this rap alone. There were 12 of us, side by side, arm in arm. Now half of them are hiding under a rock somewhere. I'm not going down. I don't know what happened. We were all so close. Jesse was my whole life. He was all of our lives. We said we'd follow him to the end. And now I feel so alone. I've got to find a way to support him without looking like I'm supporting him. Don't deny, but don't confess. Maybe the plan is to just do nothing. Nothing.
We started as a band of friends. They were so close. And now everybody's alone. Oh, and it looks like there's more storm clouds on the horizon.
When morning came, the chief priests and the elders of the people conferred together about Jesus in order to bring about his death. Now at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they wanted. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they had gathered, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want me to release for you? Jesus Barabbas or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" For he realized that it was out of jealousy that they had handed him over. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, "Have nothing to do with that innocent man, for today I have suffered a great deal because of a dream about him." Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus killed. The governor again said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release for you?" And they said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "Then what should I do with Jesus who is called the Messiah?" All of them said, "Let him be crucified." Then he asked, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Let him be crucified." So when Pilate saw that he could do nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning, he took some water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves." Then the people as a whole answered, "His blood be on us and our children." So he released Barabbas for them. And after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified.
I don't know where to go with this. It seems like everything's just turned on a dime. Every time I read another passage, I just say, why? I'm not going to write this. Maybe I should try to look at it from a different point of view. What would the average person think of all this?
And that concludes the CNN's coverage of the trial of Jesse Nazareth. Back to you, Anderson.
Wow,
You call that a trial? I can't believe that OJ gets off, and this Jesse guy is getting a death sentence.
I don't know, dear. You can't have these terrorists just out and about, let alone they could destroy our entire society.
What did he actually do? I mean, they're saying that he burned this church down, but I don't really think they have any evidence of that. And, I mean, I know he's been going around talking about the church and the government being corrupt, but who didn't know that already? You know what I think? I think there's people who think they're pretty important in high places, and they're running scared. That's what I think.
What he did was he took his nose out way too far. The wrong people saw, and now the justice system is coming down on him. What I say to that is good riddance.
How can you even say that? All I ever heard him talk about was love and peace and understanding. See, I meant to make him look to be some kind of criminal, like a vigilante. As if he's the threat to our way of life. It's ridiculous.
They wouldn't be saying this if they were making it up. Would they? Would they?
forward? But is it fate? Or is it just fatal?
As they went out, they came upon a man from Cyrene named Simon. They compelled this man to carry his cross. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, they offered him wine to drink mixed with gall. But when he tasted it, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his clothes among themselves by casting lots. Then they sat down there and kept watch over him. Over his head, they put the charge against him, which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Then 2 bandits were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who would destroy and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." In the same way, the chief priests also, along with the scribes and the elders, were mocking him, saying, "He saved others, he cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross now, and we will believe in him." They compelled this man to carry his cross. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, they offered him wine to drink mixed with gall. But when he tasted it, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his clothes among themselves by casting lots. Then they sat down there and kept watch over him. Over his head, they put the charge against him, which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Then 2 bandits were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who would destroy and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." In the same way, the chief priests also, along with the scribes and the elders, were mocking him, saying, "He saved others, he cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross now, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God deliver him now if he wants to. For he said, 'I am God's Son.'" The bandits who were crucified with him also taunted him in the same way. Many women were also there, looking on from a distance. They had followed Jesus from Galilee and had provided for him. Among them were Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee.
I can't believe it's finally come to this. It's like some sort of nightmare. I just can't remember.
I know. It seems like just yesterday we were together. We were making plans. We were doing really good things. And then it's all for nothing, I guess. Will anyone remember Jesse? Does it really matter? Was it worth it?
I don't know. I think of his poor mother. She loved him so. I mean, we all did, of course, but she was such a proud and loving mother. She knew that there was something special about Jesse at the beginning.
I know. And we gotta be with her now, tonight and all night. And she's in there, just think about it. She's with the cops and the lawyers and the judges. The ones who, well, pretty much they're condemning him, aren't they? It makes me sick.
And they'll put him down like an animal. This is a circus freak show. These people marching here. The cruelty of the world is amazing. Will we ever be forgiven? Do we deserve to be forgiven?
From noon on, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, this man is calling for Elijah. And at once one of them ran and got a sponge, filled it with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink. But the others said, wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. Then Jesus cried again with a loud voice and breathed his last. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook and the rocks were split. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. Now when the centurion and those with him who were keeping watch over Jesus saw the earthquake and what took place, they were terrified and said, truly this man was God's Son.
But the crowds cried out, crucify him! Crucify him! Then they spat in his face and struck him with their fists. Others slapped him and said, prophesy to us, Christ. Who hit you? When Pilate saw that an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands. I am innocent of this man's blood. The darkness came over the whole land until the 9th hour, for the sun stopped shining. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother Mary. I am thirsty, he cried. He gave him a sponge of vinegar. And he cried out with a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me? It is finished. With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. And we beheld his glory, the glory of the one and only Son. I want to say thank you to everybody who participated, in particular to Peter Hayes, who wrote and produced this. Please join us for some coffee and hot cross buns.